Natalie, I happen to love the series, The Lake, so much. It combines drama, it combines comedy. It's kind of that ultimate comedic, dramatic comdram that I think people really need at this moment. What was it about Jane or even this particular series, the script, that drew you to be a part of it?
Oh, the writing is just so good. I mean, right from the getting the audition pages, I was like, "Oh, I want this! I want this! I want this! I want this really bad!" And then, boom! I got it. And like our first day on set, first thing we shot, the energy in the room was electric because it was like, "Oh, damn! This group is really good. Like everybody in here is really good." And the first thing we shot was in episode 2 in games night, where everybody's playing like the charades and all that, and it was like the energy was really exciting.
John, this is such a great comedic role for you as well. Was there something about Wayne that really drew you to be this character?
Um, I mean, I'm always looking for funny roles, obviously, and then this one, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I remember being slightly confused by the audition, just because the audition sides that we got were kind of made up of a couple of different episodes, and based on the sides, I couldn't quite figure out the tone of the show. But I knew in my mind I had this idea who Wayne was, and then I remember our big conversation amongst the cast when we got to set was, what is the tone of the show?
Yeah.
Because you don't have the benefit of shooting a pilot and analyzing it. This was a series that was picked up and you kind of hit the ground running. So you have a lot of behind the scenes conversations that, directors and producers don't know about as we try and discover what the tone is. So what drew me to it was I knew it was funny, but it really came to life when you were sitting in the van going from base camp to set, having these conversations about the tone of the show. And as you put it on its feet, you realize that it's better than what you imagined. It feels like a John Hughes movie, but in television series format, obviously. Jacked up John Hughes movie. So Wayne was kind of fun and easy. He seemed just to comment on things and be oblivious, which is always a fun character for me. But to hit the set and find out who he truly is was a lot of fun.
Natalie, how did they describe their relationship, their marriage dynamics between Wayne and Jane?
Well, I think the fact that they're called Wayne and Jane really does explain a lot of it. I think that they're extremely codependent. I think they've been together for a really long time. And I think that, like, I think they got together in their teens and they've broken up and got back together like a million times. And it's hard for them to be together, but it's also hard for them to be apart. And they're just a mess. They're just a hot, beautiful mess.
It's so much fun watching the two of you in these scenes. There's levity that's brought to another level. Was there much room, John, for you guys to improv when it came to those scenes, or was just everything like beautifully on the page for you?
Everything was kind of on the page. However, yeah, for the most part, everything was on the page, but there'd be a few scenes where you'd gather with the writers and talk about motivation, and then maybe suggest an idea here or there. And it was very collaborative. So there was lots of room to kind of improvise, but I think for the most part, it was kind of all on the page. Correct me if I'm wrong, Natalie. Like, I think I remember scenes where you discuss the creativity of a particular scene with the director, for instance, spitting out crab cakes, which is a very big scene for the type of show we're doing, but I think it worked. But basically, it's all on the page, and then it's a lot of listening, just listening to what Natalie has to bring, and then I'm giving it back and letting her respond. So it was all on the page.
I just think it all was a beautiful, like, summer camp John Hughes movie, like you mentioned, and there's so many great moments that just have you in stitches throughout the film. Was it difficult, Natalie, to keep a straight face during those monumentally
Oh, yeah.
hilarious moments?
Yeah, in fact, John, you don't even know this, but there's a line in the second episode where I have to say to Jordan that if I'd known that they'd call you Christopher Robin all summer. And I found that so funny. I found it so hysterically funny. And John and Jordan are also just like, they're giggly people. And I was like, I can't even start, because if I start, we're all dead. We're all dead. And it was like, just keep it like Pentagon level, keep it locked down. Don't even start with like a little bit of a giggle, because the whole thing's just it's a house of cards and it's all gonna fall apart.
There's also a physicality that you guys have to bring to this particular series as well, with the different events that must participate in. John, what were some of your favorite scenes you filmed?
Favorite scenes? Oh man, I mean, it's impossible to narrow down, because as you go through every episode, there's something fun about every one of them, which sounds like such a politician's answer, but like, it's fun when you get to set and you play with your friends. I mean, you got to memorize your lines, you got to get up early, you sit in a makeup chair, you do all the stuff that's not necessarily the fun part, and then you get to set and you get to truly be a kid, and every episode had something. So I mean, the episode where Natalie I don't want to ruin anything though, but you've seen it, right? How many episodes have you seen? Did you have a screener for all the episodes?
Not all of them, just like the first handful.
Okay. So then you've seen Natalie discover a games night. Yeah, of course, it's games night. So Natalie discovers the vibrator. And that particular scene, I think that was the second day on set. Or was that day one and you and I finished?
No, I think it was day 2, and it was like 9 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, so 9 a.m.
so early.
But those scenes, and that's like a trust thing, like you find out because Natalie and I didn't know each other prior to shooting the show. So you discover who your friends are on set, who you're acting with, and that's a very, fun, personal, comedic scene. So for instance, that's a huge highlight, because you're this close to one another, sharing a scene, and you've just met the person. So you have to completely trust them as you're face to face, as your Natalie's helping me insert. Anyway, I have to watch the show. But so for instance, that's a big scene that's fun. Every episode has this thing to look forward to. I think they really write to Jane and Wayne's strengths really well, because it's maybe not even strengths, but it's fun to look forward to that day of shooting, because Jane and Wayne have something every episode, as far as I'm concerned, that's really fun to do.
Yeah.
Natalie, you talked a bit about it already. What was it like? Talk about working with Jordan Everest.
Well, I've worked with him before. I worked with him on Orphan Black, and I loved him so much on Orphan Black. And so I found out in the wardrobe fitting that he was Justin, and I actually started almost crying, because I was so happy for him, because it's such a great part, and he just brings so much of himself to it. Like Jordan is so committed. He, if he's got a start time of 6 a.m., he's that guy who wakes up at 4 to get a full workout in. Like, he is such a leader. And then also somehow finds time to bake delicious gluten-free cookies for everyone. Like, he's got a heart of gold, and he's also so good. And a set, the number one, or number one on the call sheet, the lead, really does set the tone. And I just think that we're so lucky to have him as our number one, because he really brings everything he has to it.
John, I know why I think people are gonna just be so in love with the lake. What do you think it is about this series that's just gonna make it such a fan favorite?
Okay,
I know.
Well, what is it? Tell me.
It's hilarious and addictive, and that's what makes it so good. It's so funny. You want to watch the next episode, because you need to see what other hijinks could have possibly happened. Plus, Jordan is just so brilliant with his banter between him and Julia. I just think that the script is so perfect, and they both bring so much to their roles that you completely invest in their love-hate relationship.
Yay!
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I thought there was something very specific that you were going to reference, but yeah, no. Well, first of all, I totally agree with you. Jordan, it's very important. Jordan is perfectly cast. The show would not succeed if the role of Julian was not, or Justin was not. There's so many J's on the show. If Justin was not perfectly cast. Jordan absolutely absolutely makes every line that is very difficult to deliver at times totally believable and fun. His character, anyway, he's absolutely perfect, drives the storyline. So that's great. But I mean, this ensemble cast of everybody coming together, it's big, it's colorful, it's fun, it's sincere. There's a real folksy connection with the heart that this show has, from what I've seen of it so far. The slow motion montage sequences seem to be like signatures of the show.
Yeah.
I think the money they spent on music was very important. You know, to hear a Bryan Adams Run to You come on, like there are so many things going on that are completely outside the control of the actors. The editing, the songs, how beautiful it looks. Yeah, I don't know. I'm more than pleasantly surprised. So I think people will watch it and feel like they've been overwhelmed with in a good way, with colors and sound and funny and sweetness. Yeah, it's really got a lot.
There's so many good layers to it. I think that's just what's going to make it so addictive for people to just sit on the couch. I mean, Jordan brings heart, but also humor, and his relationship with his daughter, I think, is just a unique perspective from our TVs. And I just think this series is going to be so much fun for people to get to watch. So both of you be ready for season 2.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. So.
Well, and let's hope it comes back to the lake house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you both. Well, thank you both so much for taking your time to talk to me. I think this, and I've gushed, I think I've officially gotten to gush level of how good this series is. So I think both of you bring such a great level of your own comedic talents to this as well, that I really am excited for more people to get to watch The Lake.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
My pleasure.